If you're watching this video, I'm assuming you're a subscriber to my channel, so you know the drill, but I still need a little intro thing for this video. So here we go. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Hope you're doing well. I'm really excited to be talking about this character, which again, I feel like I say that at the beginning of all of these videos, but I can't help it. I adore these characters, especially this one, but I do want to say, if this is the first OC video of mine that you're seeing, I would highly recommend going and watching other ones before watching this one. Specifically Delaney's video, but if not, also Lo's video. So in Delaney's video, I talk a little more about the world, and I don't go too in depth with the story, but I go more in depth than what I'm going to be doing in this video, so I'm going to be speaking as if you had at least seen Delaney's video, but again, preferably also Lo's video. I'll leave those linked in the iCard if you haven't seen those, but if you have seen those, that was a loud clap, I'm so sorry. Let's get to it. So her name is NOE Reese. She is 10 years, I just smacked my book. Her name is NOE Reese. She is 10 years old and she is a girl, a trans girl. I don't mention that a lot, but she is trans, and she's also a jackalope, in case you aren't clear. Some people are confused about that. I guess jackalopes aren't as popular as I thought they were, but she's a jackalope. She's an ambivert. And another thing about her that I know I've mentioned at least once before, but I don't talk about a lot, is that she's selectively mute. So what that means is that she has the ability to speak, like she was born with the ability to speak, and there's nothing aside from herself that's preventing her from speaking. This is due to like past trauma that she had, and I know a lot of you guys are going to be worried about her. Don't worry, she's fine at the moment. But because of the stuff that she had to go through before, she stopped talking. Being selectively mute can mean like different things. Some people who are selectively mute will say very little words. Some people who are selectively mute will talk to certain people but shut off from most people. For NOE, she just doesn't speak at all. So all of her words are just locked away. She's pretty anxious and very easily startled, and when it comes to most people that she meets, she's very shy and withdrawn. That being said though, whenever she does like start opening up to people and gets close to people, she can become quite clingy to them. But nobody really minds because she's a baby. When I say she's withdrawn, I mean she's very withdrawn from people. Like she'll physically be there in a room with people, but she doesn't really express a lot of emotions. The only time she really emotes is if it's very extreme emotions. So like if she's very, very happy or very, very sad, then you can see that more visibly in her person, but for the most part, she's just like there. It's kind of hard to talk about NOE just on her own. I have another character in this story, Alice. I accidentally leaked her name, but other than that, like I've drawn her a couple of the times, but nobody really knows anything about her. She's next month's character, don't worry. But it's kind of hard to talk about NOE because a lot of her character revolves around Alice. Since she is so young, there isn't a whole lot tying her to the plot and the world and the other main characters other than Alice, because she's sort of like her parental figure. Yeah, I think that's about all I can say about NOE for the moment without having talking about other characters. So the story, right? In this world, there are humans and beasts. Humans are just humans, that's very self-explanatory, and then beasts are, they have like, they're like cryptids, fictional creatures, anything along those lines. So NOE is one of those. Delaney is the Prince of Beasts, and his father is planning on basically screwing over all the humans. Low-key racist, but it's fine. And so Delaney, his goal and the goal of the rest of the main cast is to stop him from doing that, because it's fucked up. So, how does NOE fit into all of this? Well, I'm glad you asked. A lot of people are wondering how Delaney got a 10-year-old in his little group. Like I said, it's because of Alice, and I'll talk about how they sort of met in Alice's video, but that is why NOE is there. It's literally because of Alice. And because she is so young, there's not much she really can do, and she's very dependent on others. So beasts tend to have like certain powers and stuff, and it was really hard to think of some for NOE. So there are 5 main characters in the story, right? 3 of them are beasts and 2 of them are human. And so for a vampire and a werewolf, which are the other 2, they have like certain characteristics and certain abilities that you think of, but like what the fuck do jackalopes do? So I had a really hard time coming up with stuff for her. In the end, I decided to give her like healing powers and like support-based powers, because I learned through research that apparently the milk of a jackalope is like medicine. So she has like healing powers and stuff, but since she is so young, she doesn't really know how to use them, and it's definitely a lot of learning. Like, she can use her powers, but very minimally. Like, they aren't very strong, and she can't use them for very long, and whenever she does use it kind of drains her. So it's best she doesn't use it most of the time. Her role in the story is more of just to show how the world can affect those in it, because like I said, she is so young, and so she can't like do a lot. So everyone else in the story is kind of, they're doing the work pretty much, and then NOE is sort of to show the effect that the world has on everything that lives in it. That being said, a lot of the paths that she has to take within the story is mostly just about her as a character rather than changing the world, which is like kind of the opposite of what all the other characters are trying to go for. I mean, obviously we need that sweet character development, but NOE's personal goals are a lot different from the rest of the main cast. But there we go, there's NOE. It's hard to talk about her because again, she's very since she is very withdrawn and also a 10-year-old dependent on another adult, it's kind of hard to talk about her, but I hope that you enjoy her. I definitely enjoy drawing her a lot. I think she's adorable. But it is that time of the video where I do the Q&A thing. Quick recap of what that is. On Instagram, I will post a picture of the character. You guys will leave comments. I was going to say questions and comments at the same time, and it came out comments. Love that. Anyways, you guys will comment any questions you have about her, and then I will answer them in this video, and then after 24 hours I take the post down. It's nothing has changed. It's how it's always been. So of course the 3 traditional questions I answer in all of these videos. She doesn't have a birthday or a zodiac sign. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave them down below. Does she prefer ice cream cake or cookie cake? She loves ice cream cake. And lastly, use a vine to describe her. I don't care how much time passes, Vine will never die in my eyes. Moving on from the traditional questions, what inspired her design? She actually was the first character within this universe that I ever made. And if you've seen Sawyer's video, way back when that was posted, that was like, man, that's like over a year, I'm pretty sure. But anyways, NOE was born from the same way Sawyer was born. So I was in high school taking art classes, and I think Sawyer's was for my AP art portfolio, but for NOE we were having this art show and I needed one more piece, and so I whipped out a character design and boom, NOE was born. Obviously she looks very different from what she first looked like. I mean, I shouldn't say very different, there are some elements that are the same, but she's definitely changed a lot, I should say. And then it was after I made her, I decided to make other cryptid creatures, and then once I started thinking of the plot for the story and the world that they would live in, that's when I created the 2 human main characters, and now this is a thing. Do the others in her group know that she's trans, and do they accept her? So Alice has always known that she was trans, like right from the beginning. NOE and Alice met before the story starts, and then I talked about in Lo and Delaney's each video that the 2 of them met and were traveling together before the course of the story begins. And then within the first chapter, they all meet. So that's how that goes. So Alice has always known, and then everyone else finds out eventually, and they're very accepting. What is her favorite ice cream flavor? She loves strawberry ice cream. She doesn't like actual strawberries in it, but she loves strawberry ice cream. You said that she's very different from your other characters. How is that so? 2 main reasons, which is the 2 main points I've driven home in this video. She's very young and she's mute. So I'm not used to drawing characters or writing characters within her age range. I can write older characters and then I can write very young characters like the age of 5, but she's right in an age range where it's like she's still a kid, but she's older and starting to be a human. So, or not a human, a jackalope, haha. But I feel like when you're like around 10, you start like being alive, I guess you could say. I don't know about you guys, but anything past the age of 10 is just non-existent in my brain. I don't remember anything being like ages 1 through 9. But anyways. And also, she's mute. And it would be a different scenario if she was like born mute, because if you are born without the ability to speak, you have other ways to communicate, like sign language and stuff. But for her, like, since that wasn't the case, she was never raised with any other way to communicate other than verbally. And now that she doesn't speak, it's very, I don't want to say difficult, but very different to write her talking. It's basically a lot of charades. Most of her communicating is like pointing and then shaking and nodding her head. So it's definitely very interesting of me writing her character and still making her feel like a character and feel like a prominent individual in the story without actually having her say anything. Is her age ever an inconvenience? Yes, to both her and to the people around her. There are definitely times where Noe There are definitely times where Noe wishes that she could do more, specifically with Alice. She wants to be able to help her because Alice has done so much for her in return. And there are also times where the group, like, they need to do something, like, oh, let's go do this important thing. Oh, but we have a child with us, we can't do that. So there's definitely stuff like that happens. What's her opinion on Delaney? At first, she was very intimidated by him because, like I said earlier, she's a very anxious and easily startled individual, and so Delaney, being the very loud individual that he is, Delaney has a very loud personality, and so that's definitely something that would put Noe off to him. She would seem a little nervous around him, but over time she does warm up to him and starts to relax around him a little bit. What is her favorite time of day? Like the afternoon to evening, if we're talking specific times, like noon to maybe like 4 or 5 p.m. That's like her ideal time of day. Does she like Delaney or Lowmore? Whose company does she enjoy most? Aside from Alice. She, at first, is grown more towards Delaney because even if she was put off by him at first, Low is an asshole, so she's definitely much more intimidated by Low, and so she, at least in the beginning, gravitates towards Delaney, but over the course of the story, she does grow to like Low quite a lot. That was a mouthful. Does she attend school? She used to, and she doesn't anymore. That's mostly just because of plot stuff. I'll probably get into it more in Alice's video, but yeah, she used to go to school, but at this current point in time, she does not. It is a goal to put her in school again, but during the course of the story, she isn't. Is she a typical 10-year-old or is she mature for her age? Kind of a little bit of both, I guess. At the core of her personality, she is like a 10-year-old. Like, she's very much a young child, but due to her experiences, she kind of learns, like she works differently from other 10-year-olds, I guess. I don't know, I don't really know how to explain it, but because of the stuff that she's had to go through, she at first is like, she's kind of just learning how to be a kid again, I guess. I don't know if any of that made sense, but I'm just gonna leave that question there. Hopefully you guys know what I mean. What snacks does she like? She likes a lot of baked goods like cakes and cookies and stuff like that. And then she also likes fruit, specifically berries, like strawberries, blueberries, and all that type of stuff. Are berries fruits? I'm going to assume so. Does she have any siblings? She does not. She is an only child. Where are her parents? Are they okay? Why is she with Alice? Everyone seems very worried about Noe. It's very adorable. So, her parents are alive and kicking. Of course, Alice is not her parent, but she is like her parental figure throughout the story. I don't want to say too much because of spoilers. That's kind of like a big part of her backstory. But just know that her parents are alive. She's just not with them, and Alice is her guardian for the moment. What is the most difficult part of her transition? I would say that it's her age because, so she's 10, right? And then she has been out for a while, so she came out when she was even younger. And kids, when they're that young, they either do not care at all or are pretty judgmental, and it's pretty split down the middle of that. And so it was definitely a lot of mixed reactions from like kids at school and teachers at school and stuff like that. The big question I'm sure a lot of you have on your mind is, do her parents accept her? Yes, they accept her being trans. It was just a lot because she would get a lot of like, these people are acting like it's no big deal, and then these people are acting like it's the end of the world. So it's just dealing with a lot of that. I think this one is the most asked question, but save the best for last, I guess. How does she wear a hat? Noe herself does not wear a hat, but in the I cannot speak today. In the hypothetical situation where she would wear a hat, they do make specific hats for beasts in this universe, so she wouldn't have to worry about getting her horns and ears caught in a hat. And there we go. Those are the questions that you've had for Noe. You guys had a lot of fun questions for her. And if you want to be a part of next month's OC video, which is Alice, like I mentioned, go over to Instagram and keep an eye out for her posts. That is where I host these sort of things. But that's about all I have to say about Noe, so let me know what you thought of her She's definitely one of my favorites. I have a lot of struggles writing her, but I really enjoy writing her. So let me know what you think of her. If you have any other questions about her, the universe, and it's just not clear, feel free to comment those down below. I won't answer if I feel I've answered it in this video or is a spoiler, or of course if I don't see it. So just keep that in mind. And I don't have anything else to say, so thank you for watching. And if you're new here, hello, my name is Oliver. I talk a lot about my characters, and I post other art videos throughout the month, so if you liked the art or the story, then please subscribe. I would definitely appreciate it. And I mentioned follow me on Instagram earlier, and I have other social media that you can follow me on. Those will be on screen now and linked in the description box below. And there will also be some videos on screen and in the ad card for you to check out. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye.